India prides itself on its first heart transplant 23 years ago. But the number of donations over the decades haven't been very encouraging. Very few Indians pledge their hearts or even other organs. As of today, India needs 10 lakh donors to meet its requirement for hearts. Despite the odds, there have been many milestones which have been created and many lives have been saved. Today, we bring you those stories of hope and success.
50,000 patients require heart transplants every year. India needs 10 lakh donors to meet its requirement for hearts. Window period for a heart transplant is 4 hours. India's first heart transplant took place in 1994. 350 heart transplants have taken place in India so far. Government creating green corridors for emergency transport of organs.
Problem is, unlike the kidney, which has dialysis as a very strong safety net, even if you don't get a kidney for a transplant, you can pretty much live for some time at least reasonably well with the dialysis. The heart doesn't have an equivalent. So if you're sick, your blood pressure is low, you have a massive heart attack, you die. Now you have artificial heart pumps which are able to keep you alive. But unfortunately, they are way too expensive. An average long-term artificial heart pump costs upwards of $100,000. That's not loose change. So we still have challenges. Even though the next big challenge has been that even though the awareness is increasing and organs are available, it's not often, you could have an organ available and a patient waiting here, but to get the two together is not often easy because the heart, unlike the kidney, has to be transplanted within 4 hours. And that includes the time it takes to stitch it in. So the traffic in our cities being what it is, time is a huge constraint. So we started this concept of using a police escort, what's called green corridor, way back 5 or 6 years ago. Now I'm glad to see that it's being taken up in the whole country. But that's a small drop in the bucket. That's not going to solve all our problems.
A heart transplant is a surgery that replaces a diseased heart with a healthy donor heart. It may be the only treatment option if the patient has heart failure and other medicines and therapies have not worked. Every day might as well be Valentine's Day for 24-year-old Heartwarming miniature homie, as love is indeed all around. Heartwarming has heartfelt gratitude to the one person who makes moments like this sweeter. Her donor and his mother, who pledged her son's heart and gave Heartwarming a second chance at life.
For me, it has totally changed my life. 6 months after the transplant, I was able to go to the US and sit on these deadly roller coasters where my brothers felt, their heads were turning and they weren't very comfortable, but, there was nothing that happened to me. After the transplants, 6 months down, there has been nothing that has stopped me. I am very, very normal. I get up in the morning at 9 o'clock, I go to work at 10 o'clock, I come back home only at 8 o'clock. So, there can't be anything more normal than what the donor has gifted me.
For Heartwarming's parents, it's a dream come true. Their daughter, now an education counselor, has a busy, fulfilling life. All the more precious, considering the nightmarish moments before the transplant finally took place.
In the condition earlier, before the operation, was she could not get up from one chair and move to another without getting exhausted.
Most challenging was wondering whether we would get an organ, especially organ donations not being a very common thing in India. In fact, very few people have heard about organ donation and would know that you require more than awareness for organ donation only with the general public, the hospitals where people have to be declared brain dead on time and organs need to be donated. That was the biggest challenge. We were told that maybe in Bombay, it was out of the question. No heart transplants were done in Bombay. So we were told that Chennai was our only option. When we moved to Chennai for the first 1 month, it was an awful period, that 1 month waiting for the organ and waiting to think that somebody has to die before we can get an organ is not a very comfortable thought either. You don't want, but unfortunately, that's how life is.
More than 2 years on, the memory of the minutes that changed their lives bring tears to the family's eyes.
We are thankful to the doctors. We are more than thankful to the donor. The donor is every day in my prayer. That, may his soul rest in peace and may God look after her mother. Her mother has done something that, very few people would have the courage to do it. So if you think of it that way, there are lots of things that need to be done, at least with regard to organ donation on a wider scale, apart from just convincing people to donate organs.
Harvovi may not have specific plans for Valentine's Day, or at least she's not telling us. But it's clear who the love of her life is. Besides the medical team and the donor's family, the Minochar homies have not forgotten that there were many heroes in this victory. And they hope to encourage many more.
And we hope that what we are saying today, by what we are saying, we are able to create some kind of awareness and people understand the necessity and the need to donate any organ, not only organs, even skin. That also is so much needed today that we feel that, like everybody says, God doesn't need your organs up there, we need them down here.
ठीक है, धूप तो सही है मौसम।
10-11 साल पहले इनको इकट्ठे 3 अटैक आए थे, तब इनकी हालत बहुत ज़्यादा ख़राब हो गई थी। यहाँ इनकी केयर मैंने बिल्कुल छोटे बच्चों की तरह की, यहाँ तक कि इनको नहलाती भी मैं थी। फिर बस ये ठीक हो गए। फिर एक बार हम कपल किट्टी में गए थे, वहाँ इनकी तबीयत ख़राब हो गई। वहाँ से फिर मेरी सिस्टर और जीआई इनको गंगाराम हॉस्पिटल ले गए। डॉक्टर अश्विनी मेहता ने इनकी सर्जरी वगैरह की, ये ठीक हो गए। फिर पेसमेकर लगा, लेकिन 6 महीने से इनकी तबीयत इतनी ज़्यादा ख़राब थी और डॉक्टर्स ने भी बोल दिया था कि 6 महीने तक की इनकी लाइफ है। 5 महीने हो चुके थे। मेरी और मेरे बच्चों की टेंशन बढ़ती जा रही थी। फिर अचानक एक दिन ना मेरा बेटा घर था, दामाद भी नहीं था, वो हैदराबाद गए हुए थे, बेटा मेरठ गया हुआ था। तो इनके फ़ोन पे ही कॉल आई कि आप हॉस्पिटल आ जाइए। कह रहे नहीं हार्ट मिल गया है।
We were extremely disturbed and shocked. We were not really sure how to go about it, whether we should opt for the transplantation, because one side we could see that there were frequent episodes of hospitalization. He was having a lot of problems, and at the same time, whatever we had read on the internet, etc., the procedure had its own complications. So we are kind of stuck between the devil and the deep sea.
ऑपरेशन से पहले मेरी हालत ये थी, मैं खाना खाता था तो खाना नहीं खाया जाता था। एक चपाती बड़ी मुश्किल से खाता था और शरीर भी सूख गया था, इतनी हालत ख़राब थी। सांस लेने में प्रॉब्लम थी। एक बार तो मुझे सांस ऑक्सीजन लगाई थी घर पे मैंने, तो फिर ज़्यादा ख़राब हो गई, तो नीचे जाने लगा। मेरे से नीचे लिफ्ट से बाहर नहीं निकला गया। कार मैंने लिफ्ट के पास बुलाई, अंदर आई, इसमें जाके मैं वहाँ पहुँचा हॉस्पिटल।
He used to tell me, I want to be fine, I want to eat. And when he could not eat, we know how we used to stop our tears in front of him and we used to tell, "Aap koshish karo, you will have to, you will do it."
And we were called to the hospital twice, where we would say, we were informed that we would receive a call and we need to immediately rush to the hospital because there's a small window during which the heart transplant has to take place. And both of the times, the donor family, they refused for their own personal reasons. We cannot question them, but third time when we got a call, and so we were lucky at that time.
And that journey has actually got us here where he is fine, where he is like, yes, I am okay and I am there for you, for all of you.
बहुत फ़र्क है, काफ़ी फ़र्क है। मतलब ये समझो कि बिल्कुल ठीक हो गए हैं।
A lot of awareness needs to take place, both about the procedures. The success stories need to go out. People need to know what families go through who have some illnesses in the family, patients who are suffering, and how many people are in the need of such procedures. So that's really important.
और जिसने डोनेट किया है, मैं तो कहता भगवान उनकी फैमिली को, उसके परिवार को शक्ति दे, जिन्होंने इतना बड़ा काम किया है, डोनेट किया है, और ऐसा मेरे को ज़िंदगी दी है. मेरी ज़िंदगी एक्चुअली उनकी दी हुई ज़िंदगी है. जिसने डोनेट किया है, उसके परिवार की है.
Many people suffer because of lack of awareness and shortage of heart donors. But Jagdish was lucky to get a suitable heart donor. And probably that's the reason why his family is up for the cause and are pledging not only to donate their heart, but all their body organs.